So welcome to my 2018 BMW M3 competition. Now, just driving this car, I got the car yesterday, just driving it for the day. I can already say that this transmission is so good. It resembles so much of my PDK. It's amazing, honestly. It's so good. And then second, what I can say is this car, first reaction, it's stiff when you want it to be, it's softer when you want it to be. The transmission is so much smoother than I ever predicted it was going to be. Never having driven the F80 M3 comp, I've driven the F80 M3 before, and you know, that first generation kind of the F series that came out to me were a little sloppy. They're a little sloppy, a little not too stiff, a little like, this one, oh my gosh, this one's so dialed in. It's so crazy how this last send-off was amazing. And then the last send-off, not only in this car, this is a special car. This is an M3 Edition Velocity in Porsche Fashion Grey. There are only 20 of these made, and they're made for the military, not made for the military, but they're made for military service members to buy them. It was sort of a tribute to the military itself and the service members for serving their country. So about, supposedly around 16 or 17 of them ended up in Germany, supposedly, from my research and some of my car spotter friend research, some car kids and guys I know, they're saying there's only 3 in the United States. So, you know, I got this car from a dealer, and I'm not sure if that BMW dealer even really knew what car they really had, to be honest. So I'm happy I got the car. Some of the crazy cool features of the car are, obviously, it's the Edition Velocity. There's only one of 20 made. So what that means is the color match interior is also fashion gray. The stitching, also the next thing that's fashion gray, obviously, is the color of the car, but then the car is this night stealth package, which sort of resembles like the fighter jets you see in the military. So it has this very stealth look to the car with the night package, with the gloss or the semi-matte gloss wheels, and then obviously the gloss front of the car, the gloss kidney grills is what I'm trying to say. So the car has this like stealth look, kind of resembling a fighter jet, which, you know, that was the ad on the car when it was being you know, sold at BMW. That was like their. It's just so cool to be able to like have this car as a daily driver. I still have my Porsche GT3 RS, obviously, so you know, I'm not, you know, gonna sell that. This is like my 2-car solution, so to speak. So next things next. The heads-up display. I love the heads-up display. I love seeing the RPM maneuver. I love having everything there in the driving vision of the car. I love the stock exhaust, how it like pops and bangs, and it still does like this uniqueness, like this unique you know, driving experience, so to speak. This unique, like, you know, makes it exciting and fun to drive even when you're not driving it fast. And I think that's what's so amazing about this is that I can't believe that this is like a daily driver, you know. Like for me, like I never fathomed when I was younger that I would have 2 of like the best cars in my eyes in like their own respected manufacturing and class of their own world, you know, from the Porsche GT3 RS and the M3 Comp. It's like kind of the pinnacle of both brands in their own respective right. And it's just cool. It's just crazy to think, you know. I was thinking about it last night when I was going to sleep. I was like, man, this is kind of crazy, like, to have that. I don't know, it's just nuts. So another thing is this transmission shifts so good. I kind of mentioned it for a second earlier, but the transmission, this PDK, I mean, excuse me, this car, oh my gosh, like the way this car like has that smooth linear power, but the way it shifts, honestly, it shifts harder and more violently than the PDK, and the downshifts are a lot more like brutal. I don't know. I can't say the PDK is better. I feel like they're like this. They're both the same, like in their own right. And it's crazy to say that because, you know, it's just, you know, you're comparing 2 different worlds, obviously, but you know, I'm comparing it because that's my other car. So I'm giving you a comparison of like what this transmission could match up towards, and matching it up towards a PDK, which is arguably one of the best transmissions ever made in a car in terms of snappiness, how quick it shifts, and overall roundness of it. This is this is just comparable. It's just crazy to say this is comparable. The M3 Comp, what this car has, so I explained the Edition Velocity with the color, the memoirs, and the etching, and the seats, and the, you know, the signature style to it. So what the M3 Comp has, the 18 M3 Comp has, is it's a re-engineered rear differential. So the rear differential's more, because they are electronic diffs, so it's re-engineered to, you know, be a more of a two-way when you need it to be on throttle, and then, you know, the deacceleration, you know, they tuned it nicely. I like, you know, they tuned it in a way where they engineered it where it's more track focused and track oriented, because that is essentially what this car is made for. It's a sports car, a daily drivable car that you can also take to the track. Re-engineered chassis dynamics, re-engineered suspension. When you put this thing in Sport Plus and you have it in that, you know, M2 mode, and you have it configured right, it is stiff. It is stiff. And the only downside I can say right now about this car, living with it for the last 24 hours, the only downside, I wouldn't say it's a downside because it's easily fixable, is getting some drop springs on it, stiffening, or getting some drop springs on it. The car's already stiff. Getting some drop springs on it so you don't have that slight body roll, and don't feel that car kind of coming up at higher speeds with the air going underneath it. Just dropping it down slightly, just making it right in that aspect. I think it just dialed this thing in perfectly. This car's producing 444 horsepower, 406 foot-pounds of torque. So it's very linear and smooth power. It's not like that snappy turbo power you get where the turbo comes on and it's just like, ooh. It's just smooth all the way through the RPM range, which is nice. I want to keep it stock from a tuning perspective, because I don't like that snappy boost coming all on at once, because it really unsettles the car in corners and when you're hitting canyons and when you're really trying to come out of corners smooth and when you're tracking. So that's the amazing part about this thing, is that it really is refined, and this is a proper send-off for an M3. You know, the new M3 now has a ZF transmission, which is an automatic. They got away from the double clutch. Like, why BMW? Why are you going backwards? Like, I don't understand why you're going backwards on this thing. It just made me so upset when they did that, because it was like, wait, you have a chassis that was supposed to push the M3 further into the pinnacle of what it was, and then you kind of regress backwards into something that we don't even know, you know, with the huge Darth Vader beaver looking front grille, and then the ZF transmission, and then if you've ever driven one of these in manual, it's so sloppy, it's crazy. It needs like a short shifter or something. So I don't know why they did that. You know, I wish I could say, you know, I knew, but you know, I guess that's up for them to decide. This car has extended leather package also, so there's extended leather on the doors, on the dashboard itself. It's just so rich design, and everything's just, oh man, it's so much different and better than the G80 from an interior perspective. I did a review on the G80, and you could see when I did the review on it, I was pointing out the inside, how cheap it was, how just like it wasn't nice, it wasn't good, it wasn't anything, you know. It was just like this cheap car that they made, and then just decided to throw a bunch of plastic and do some high gloss stuff and some aluminum finishing, and that was it. And it's unfortunate with the inflation in the world that's happening today and the cost of goods, where manufacturers are just cheaping out. That's why I love my 991 so much. I feel like Porsche really fixed the issue that was going on with the car. You know what I'm saying? Like, they really fixed the, what's the term? What do I want to say? They really fixed, you know, in that 991, there was like the last year, they didn't fix, what I'm saying is they really went high quality and fixed all the nuances, and then in the 992, they kind of cheaped out because the cost of inflation, the cost of goods, the cost of etc. Manufacturers these days are not taking the time to say, hey, instead of us wanting to make a profit, why aren't we trying to make the customers happy? And I think BMW is doing a great job at that in this realm of car, you know. And you could still, one of the very few manufacturers left where you could still opt for a double clutch like this car is, or you could still obviously opt for the manual transmission. And not, when I'm saying obviously, I'm saying BMW is one of the only manufacturers that's obviously left still doing that, BMW and Porsche, and it's still delivering that real raw driving experience. That, you know, a lot of these newer manufacturers or newer companies aren't doing anymore. So that's a big props up to those guys. And you know, this thing is just, the downshifts is so, and you have the pops and the banks, and it's just so snappy too on the downshifts. It's like, and the upshifts, it's just quick. And It's so good. And we're gonna go through some S-turns here. The car is stiff. It feels rigid. It feels solid. Put the window down a little bit so we can get some nice gearing. Somebody's getting pulled over here for speeding, and here I was about to get on it. So let's see. Sounds so good, and it's so smooth. You can see like the jerkiness of the shift, so it kind of makes it more of an event, a little bit more, I wouldn't say violent, but more fun, more enthusiastic, more of a experience, a driving experience like BMW stuff. And the brakes are amazing on the comp too. They just stop. And here's the other part too. Car weighs 3,500 pounds, and if you go look at an M2 comp, these cars are like about 60-70 pounds away from each other. This car is light as an M2 competition. So when you look at an M3 chassis, you might think it's too big, or you might think it's not a sports car because it's a little bit of a sedan. No. This thing is light as an M2 comp. This thing is able to be thrown around corners like it's nothing. And that's the beautiful part about it, having 4 doors. And I just love the look of the 4-door, honestly. It just looks so good. And you just hear those little pops and burbles, and then oh shit! I like how I did that, and there's a cop there. But anyways, well, I hope I don't get pulled over, because I literally did that little pull, there was a cop there, and then, oh gosh. But anyways, let's do a little walk around of the car before we get pulled over by the police. Didn't get pulled over, which was good. So the Fashion Grey just hits in ways that, oh my goodness. Every different light is a different type of look to it. It goes from like this chalk color to this like darker tan. And then, you know, the upgraded headlights, which is I think a $3,500 or $4,000 option, which I'll turn on here in a second. Let me turn the ignition on so you can see the headlights. So he just has that mean look to it. So you have that blacked out front I was talking about that comes in this, obviously the Fashion Grey, the blacked out wheels, and then obviously all the trim is blacked out with the carbon roof. So inside the car you can see the door cards here, just fully extended leather with the color match trim, and then also on top of the color match trim you get in and you have the stitching is matching as well. You have all the carbon inside. Let me close the door. So you have all the beautiful color match here. You have the beautiful carbon up here. This car has Apple CarPlay, the BMW iDrive system. I love this here, the BMW or the M3 Edition Velocity, and then it says 1 of 20. And then on the seats as well, the Edition Velocity, the bucket seats, or if you want to run harnesses, I believe you can. But I don't know what these are for, actually. I think it might be for harnesses. It's kind of weird, never seen the gap like that in the seat. The fit and finish of this car is amazing. The extended leather on the dash too, it's just beautiful the way that they designed it. Also in MDM mode, so if you start the car, I'll start it here. So if you go M2, the M dynamic mode is called it. So traction control, like back there, traction control is like halfway turned off. So it's like half on, half off. So it's like you're able to like kind of get the car sideways, play with it, have this little precision, but then if it gets too far out there, it'll correct itself. It'll cut the power to the rear wheels and it'll kind of correct. So that's nice to have because you're allowed to play with the car a lot more and not having to fully sacrifice having traction all the way off. Of course, you know, when you're a good driver, you can have traction off and play with it a lot more. I'm still getting used to the car, so I'm not going to turn traction fully off just yet until I really get, you know, used to the car and driving it around, and then start, you know, having some more fun with it. So I hope you liked the review. If you stayed this far to the ending, you're probably going to laugh. But this is a short review. This is a fun review. First drive, first kind of capturing of the car. There's no complaints. I don't have anything I would change or say about it, minus you know, getting the suspension a little lower because you could feel a little bit of body roll at higher speed, which is a given. Other than that, I think doing that in a corner balance alignment would change the game for this thing, and I look forward to having some fun with it. And I'm going to do a BMW driving experience event down at Thermal and do some more like track stuff. My Porsche is now set up for track. Set up for track, meaning I did springs, drop links, corner balance alignment, motion engineering, got it all dialed in. Gonna take this car to motion engineering in a couple months for them to dial in the suspension as well. So this is kind of track ready and canyon ready. We'll do some videos of this in the canyons and whatnot too. But yeah, overall this is an amazing car. And yeah, thanks for watching. And I'll do a more intricate canyon run review, etc. on it here soon. So by this time, you probably finished watching the review. So, this is funny. So, my friend Zach and his buddy Gavin, we're all in like a group chat with my buddy Nico. And I'm sending him this car that I bought separately. And then Gavin, you know, one of my friends, his dad was like, oh my God, I want to buy that. So they didn't think I was going to buy it. So the very night, this was Sunday night. So the very next morning, today's Friday, by the way. So this was Sunday night, about 5 days ago. So Sunday night, I'm sending him this. I'm telling Nico, man, I'm going to call him tomorrow morning. I think I'm going to buy it. But I didn't tell any of the other friends. So I call Monday morning. They still have the car. I buy the car. Gavin's dad, our friend's dad, calls, gets a walk-around video, all this, just to tell him the car is sold. But none of my friends know that the car was sold to me. So right now, we're going to go meet up with my friends, but none of them know that I've actually bought this car. And his dad went and bought another M3 yesterday because he couldn't buy this one in Grigio Telesto, which is a Lamborghini color. I don't even know how you say it or pronounce it, but something like that, Grigio Telesto or Telestio or something. But it's just so funny because they have no idea that I bought this one. And now I'm going to go meet up with them and troll them a little bit. And they're going to be like, what the heck? I'm so confused. So it'll be fun. But my buddy Nico knows, but the other guys don't know, so it'll be funny to see Zach's reaction of him trip out. So I'll try to like film it or something because he's a Porsche guy. This is Fashion Grey, which supposedly I guess is a Porsche color. I got to do more research on the color. I probably will do more research on the color because by the time you watch the review, I probably have said something about it. So, anyways, see ya. Thanks for watching, and let's see their reaction. What are you guys doing here?
You bought it?
Yeah, I did. Yo, I bought it on Monday. We just told you. We were trying to keep it a secret. What is this guy doing?
I said, where's Sim?
Where's Sam? Did you see me?
No!